everyone, and welcome to our Way Forward Leader Lunch Break. Today, we are pleased to welcome Andrea Vullo. Andrea is an advocate, a visionary, and a creative and collaborative problem solver. She had a highly successful 18-year career with GE Lighting as public affairs manager and community relations manager. In addition to these responsibilities, she was a key force in bringing a Cleveland Metropolitan School District STEM high school to the Nela Park campus. Her passion for education only grew as she served as its liaison and champion for the young students who were there exploring STEM careers. When it came time to transition, it only made sense that she would be tapped for a role to amplify her work in opening the eyes of CMSD students to the opportunities before them. As the strategic partner in PACE, she is building the structure of the Planning and Career Exploration Program, which is a collaboration of 6 community partners. Andrea has been described as someone who is passionate about connecting business and local communities to bring out the best in both. She lives her passion beyond her work. She volunteers and serves on the board of Seeds of Literacy and Friends of MC2 STEM. She's a proud member of the Bridge Builder class of 2014, and we're pleased to welcome you to our conversation today. Andrea?
Well, thank you, Marianne. That was quite the introduction. I'm definitely coming to you when I have to write a cover letter or resume next time. Thank you. No, honestly, it's great to be here today. I see so many friends and faces. It's awesome to see you all. I know I've connected with a lot of you, and I look forward to connecting with some of you that we have meetings scheduled. So I am really excited today to be here to talk about PACE. PACE is, as Marianne said, planning and career exploration. That's a co-convening of the Cleveland Metropolitan School District and the Cleveland Foundation. PACE, its goal is to take students from here to career. It really builds upon and aligns with the CMSD's existing priorities, such as the Cleveland Plan and Say Yes to Education. This work started more than 2 years ago when CMSD recognized that only half of its 2,000 annual graduates were receiving supports to carry on their dream and vision of post-secondary education. We realized that the other half didn't really have the structure in place or the supports or resources to figure out what they were going to do next. And that's where the challenge started. But really, PACE is 2 years. It's this culmination of time and effort and collaboration of 100 individuals, more than 40 organizations, and 75 employer organizations. PACE is not a program. It's not something for some students. It's a district and a community initiative and a change of culture that is built upon a new way of thinking, doing things, and collaborating. It's supports for all students. As you see here, it's embedded curriculum for 6th through 12th graders that provides them with the knowledge, skills, and experience and confidence to uncover the occupations or careers that they want to pursue. It's a variety of quality in-school curriculum and out-of-school lessons and experiences that facilitate exploration. It empowers students to find events that align with their passions, interests, and skills. PACE is all students, every one of them, graduating with a career pathway plan that's intentionally designed through their planning and active decision-making. It really shifts the conversation away from, are you college or career bound, to what is your career goal or vision? And here are multiple ways to get there. Us as adults really need to make this shift and make sure that we're asking each student what's their career goal or vision. It's advising and supports that enable students to take their vision from here to career. This is really the foundation of PACE. These are the core components. They are recursive and iterative. Students will continue to look within themselves, identify their passions, interests, and knowledge, while they explore a variety of occupations, including those in demand here in Northeast Ohio. They will have time to identify occupations or careers that align with their interests and passions and reflect upon why they are making those decisions. This active planning and decision-making is probably the most important part to CEO Gordon. He wants to make sure that each student is taught how to plan, how to make decisions, and how to continually do that, right? We're teaching these students to be these lifelong learners. And as students will have many opportunities each school year to engage with community partners and employers to gain experiences that excite them and expose them to opportunities that they might not know existed. PACE is happening right now in every school building. We launched in November and have only had to make slight adjustments due to testing in December. But at this point, all but the November lessons that were in plan for this school year are actually on track, and we're really excited to see them happen. While the lessons happen in the classroom, an ecosystem of organizations representing K-12, post-secondary education, employers, youth serving and workforce nonprofits and public sector, philanthropy, and importantly, the parents and caregivers, is being created to convene these parties to continue to move the conversation and collaboration forward. The ecosystem or consortium, as it's being the placeholder, it's being called, of committed stakeholders will help coordinate, implement, align, and sustain this effort to work together to create a local high-quality talent pipeline. The goal is to have this consortium in place by March, so please stay tuned for more information. The ecosystem will continue to assess and support quality experiences for students and employers. Speaking of which, the employer interest is tremendous. I think it's testament to folks on the phone today and all those that are on the table that we have so many willing partners that are ready to jump in, add new experiences, and change their way of approaching this work with students. Large employers like Lincoln Electric, PNC, Sherwin-Williams, and small organizations like Ohio City Cycles, and everyone in between are ready to go with PACE. The 7 markers of quality were defined by an employer subcommittee to support the alliances between schools and employer partners. The markers of creation, to support the creation of these quality markers, there's career-focused education and experiences for the students. And these markers assist the employers with quality ways to engage the students, their future talent. The quality markers will build experiences where each person can be fully and comfortably, or each person can fully and comfortably be themselves, that there are authentic opportunities to demonstrate work and include an intellectually complex task, build a student social capital, and that there is embedded curriculum, that they're open and fair, that all the experiences are open and fair for students, employers, or volunteers, and promote a joyous environment. And when all parties are held accountable and respected. These are very important to our framework. We are creating resources for all employer partners, especially when we think of the consortium. The consortium will support the work in CMSD, but as this moves forward, the hope is, because employers are not just recruiting from CMSD, they're recruiting from the region, that this PACE model is adapted into other school districts. So these resources will provide that streamlined way for employers to engage with many school districts across the region, not just CMSD, and create an equitable playing field for all students to engage and get experiences with our employers. And this whole system has been created to implement for impact. There's professional learning that's going to be available for all of our student-facing educators, community, and employer partners, some which will be required and some which will be optional, depending on types of experiences that you have. A short-term and long-term formative and summative evaluation plan has been designed. The researcher lead from the district, Josh Turchek, continues to remind me that we have to take this step by step because it's like we're redesigning K-12 education here. The CMSD media centers are being transformed to community, college, and career centers. All of their librarians had to reapply to be hub specialists to really reshape this work that's going on in the school building, and will be a place to support the students and their families across any journey that they want to take. There's a new information management system that's being put in place to streamline the program. We just saw more of the tool today. There will be a way for the district to manage and then business partners to manage the experiences and opportunities that they have for students to help streamline that interview process for internships or apprenticeships and track that and communicate with these students in a way that provides the confidentiality and FERPA regulations for the students, but allows the employers access to these children. So this is really exciting, but we can't do this without folks like yourself and your organizations. Whereas the district had some schools that were doing this work previously, and there was individuals, school buildings that said, hey, we're going to have job shadowing experiences for students or internships. Now students in 11th and 12th grade are all going to be required to have an internship or apprenticeship. Every 10th grader needs to have 2 mock interviews. There have to be job shadow and site tours for students across the 6th through 12th grade spectrum. There's going to be opportunities to come in the classroom to teach what it's like to be in a workplace setting and different personalities in workplace settings. We'll have networking opportunities. So a lot of things that will both be created within the district, and then opportunities for partners or employers to bring their programs and initiatives into the school district and have the resources and frameworks available to make sure that they're using the common language and terminology and hitting the benchmarks and quality markers that so many individuals have worked so hard to stand up. And then the last thing here, and again, 2 years of work in about 10 minutes is pretty quick and condensed. So I look forward to answering questions, but there's multiple ways to get involved. So this has really been designed as a no wrong door policy. You can connect directly with CMSD at clevelandmetroschools.org/PACE. There is a nice webpage that has student information, partner organization, employer information, and educator information. So just click your respective bucket and you can find information. There's also links if you're an employer partner to complete the organization form, interest form, or an individual volunteer interest form, just so that we can know who to tap when we're ready to launch these experiences in the spring or in this winter. You can continue to work with your local school buildings, right? They're being prepped with this information. Slowly, we're getting it to them, but they have that, and you should not stop working with the school building if you're working with them today. Volunteer or continue to work with an anchor partner like College Now or YOU, Magnet, the Healthcare Sector Partnership, right? They are all at the table. Engage your employee resource groups with this work, or take your programs, as I mentioned, and adapt your own organization's efforts with our quality engagements. So we're really excited to start this conversation today, to continue moving it forward and really create this collaborative ecosystem where we can create this quality talent pipeline in our region to help make us all successful. I will pause there.
Great. Andrea, thank you so much. And for everyone on the call, I will be sure to share the link to the website in the follow-up email so everyone can learn more. So we have had some questions come in. So we'll start with, what has the reception been like so far? So when you think of the students, families, teachers, what have you heard? Concerns, excitement?
The concern, I'll start there, is that we started a little late. So we started in November when we originally had hoped to start in August. So bringing something into an educator's world in November in a COVID year, when there's so many struggles with attendance and just everything related to this pandemic, that's been the only pushback. But when we've gotten in front of the educators and we've shared what PACE is and its goals and how it's embedded and it's not something add-on, they're very receptive. And they're excited because they knew that this is the district, this is the way the district needed to go. And they have their own passions for helping bring this to the classroom. The reception from the students right now has been positive. I haven't worked directly with the students at this point, but the few that we worked with in socializing and creating some information up front for the program, they were like, man, I wish we would have had this when we were in 6th grade, not if it started as 12th graders. So really excited to see that. And then the employer partners and community partners have been overwhelmingly positive. I have not walked away from one conversation, and some of the partners that I've talked to are on this phone with them saying, why didn't we have this when we were in high school, right? I only wish I would have had exposure and opportunities to learn about things other than a doctor, a nurse, a lawyer, or, you know, a basketball player, football player. Like, those are the things that students are seeing today, and we're hoping to change that. There's so many great occupations out there that we need to bring to students.
So you mentioned this isn't going to be an add-on. How are you embedding and fitting this curriculum and these opportunities into what already seems like a pretty jam-packed day for students.
Yeah, so that was exciting to see during the design phase of this work, is how the district's curriculum team was recreating their capstone or curriculum for each semester documents, and how they were encouraging the ties between a core subject area such as geometry and occupations that use that. So, right, so teachers, as they're planning their lessons, and if it's geometry, think about architects and how they use that, right? So, or science and biology and what uses that. So it's really weaving in some of this occupation. We're using ONET as our base for job families and career clusters and occupations to help students identify the knowledge and skills that it takes. And then those are the ways that the teachers can start making connections. Some of this work, again, was already going on. Some students were having mock interviews and internships, but being able to have resources available at the teacher's fingertips or the employer's fingertips to make sure that they're done with quality. And again, we set that minimum standard. So a student from John Hay doesn't have a different experience than a student from East Tech or vice versa, right? We want them all to have this equal and equitable experience and opportunity to apply for things, and then to have access to those opportunities.
So you were looking at a pretty significant culture shift within the school district. What anticipated challenges are you thinking through, and how are you going to work to overcome that?
Yeah, the culture shift is huge. And without changing the culture, I don't think that PACE will be successful. We can't stay the course. And I think the reason that everyone is optimistic about launching it in this pandemic is because CEO Gordon has challenged everyone to think differently about the way that they're doing everything, right? And these have to be student-centered. We have to think about the student first to provide those supports and resources to make them successful. And it's not what we as adults think is really cool and exciting. We have to meet the students where they're at to help provide these opportunities and experiences that align with their interests. The district, as we implemented this, there have been tools that have been created and actually pushed out through the entire ecosystem of the education and central office of CMSD. There was a PACE orientation, so it was a self-guided course for them to take. We're providing individual facilitator workshops for those that are in the building facilitating. Externally, from a culture shift, and I see, a partner right now from YOU on the screen, they're rethinking their work. Our College Now YOU partners are taking a new twist and angle to how they're working with the students, talking with the students. Not only are they going to continue with the work that they were doing, that their core programs, they're adopting and shifting their teams and their culture to be educating these students on the new PACE curriculum that was brought in, right? This is not that something that existed. It was this team of folks that have created this curriculum and content that we think is appropriate to move these students through this career journey, that recursive iterative process from 6th to 12th grade that's going to build upon each other to make them successful post-graduation.
So building on the concept of the partners, so how do programs that work with CMSD scholars with academic and college and career readiness partner with PACE to ensure that they're not duplicating services, but enhancing what the district is already implementing?
Yeah, and that's where really the consortium will come into play to really bring together different working teams with curriculum and employer engagement and experiences, different evaluation, different DE&I, right? We'll have these different work teams that will bring together the partners that have interest in driving those conversations and that work forward. We'll be able to assess what folks are doing, how they're doing it, and where we need to move working forward, right? I think another example, right, as we think about the work that College Now and YOU are doing, College Now has someone embedded in each high school. YOU has its JOG program, but they have brought in new staff and are rethinking how they're going to approach some of this work in the schools so that they are complementing the work that College Now is doing, right? Because we really need a village to make this program successful. And so everyone needs to take a look internal and then figure out how they can work into this framework. And they were all at the table when we planned this. So it shouldn't be a surprise to the anchor organizations, but we know we have a lot more socialization that goes on with other partners. I know Eileen and Nicole are on from Young Entrepreneurs Institute, right? And we already talked about how they have so many programs that hit some of these no's and do's for each of the students that we've stood up. And they, if they can check the box on 7 things, that's great. And then if we say, you have to hit this one too, what else can they bring to their program to make it more robust, make it more impactful for all the students?
So as you look this year, there are some students who have chosen to stay remote. Are there any special needs for the students' internship opportunities?
So this is where our quality markers of accessible and connected and equitable come in, right? I don't know if we'll ever go back to a world where everybody's in person all the time. So we are approaching this, especially in this year, with this hybrid approach. What employer partners are willing to create virtual experiences, who's still willing to create in-person experiences. And then we can promote those, and students, they can choose experiences that they feel comfortable with. This new platform and information management tool will allow them to actually geolocate experiences that they have interest in, right? What can I walk to? What can I take 1 bus to or 4 buses to, right? So a lot of different tools that we're putting in place to make sure students can find things. And it's important that we take the employer's desires account as well, right? Who wants to have students in, right? They might not be able to with the limitations because of COVID restrictions, but they want to work with the district. So how are we as a district and partners supporting that facilitation and helping make it easier for them to connect with these students to provide virtual opportunities? So it's a lot of give and take. It will be a little bit more effort, but we'll be more successful in the end if we continue this hybrid approach to make everyone more accessible.
And Andrea, is the goal to bring in a lot of outside visitors to help teach this curriculum or embed it within the teacher's curriculum that already exists?
Yeah, so it's a great mix. We have facilitators that are CMSD educators. That's actually mainly in the 6th through 7th grade right now. 8th grade is being run through the True to You program underneath the Neighborhood Leadership Institute in partnership with CMSD. Junior Achievements, helping recruit individuals for some programs in 6th and 7th grade. The curriculum in 9th through 12th grade is actually mainly taught by partners at College Now and YOU. And then there's some lessons that will be delivered by the facilitators that are educators. And then we have some opportunities. There's a handful of lessons where we need employer partners to come in to talk about the workplace settings and culture and personalities in the workplace. So we will have those lessons available, and it will be easy. And if you go to clevelandmetroschools.org/page, you can see the opportunities we have for those classroom sessions and a brief description of them, and you can sign up. But again, we'll be pushing opportunities and also looking to collect opportunities that you have. If you have a program and you want to get in the classroom, by all means, we want to hear about it. And there's an email address on there as well. It's pace@clevelandmetroschools.org. Share that, and we have a team that will be able to respond and get you connected.
Are there other districts nationally that have embarked on a similar path? And if so, what were their outcomes?
So there are some districts that are working in this space. Everybody's approaching it a little differently. One example that I'll share about the information management tool that the district's bringing in, it's Transio. And we were talking to their development team, and they said for their business partners, the district wants to manage everything. They want to make this streamlined. They don't want their employer partners to have to do anything. And we're kind of the opposite, right? Cleveland is so unique that we have so many existing relationships with CMSD and other school districts that asking these few questions, having somebody input into a form is probably more streamlined than email and going back and forth of like, oh, well, what about this and what about that? So there's uniqueness there in terms of engagement from experiences. There's different models that different school districts are approaching, like Columbus. They're approaching career pathways from a couple of pathways first. So they're looking at getting cohorts of 500 students interested in healthcare and 500 students interested in IT. And they're tackling just those two pathways. We are going at it from a student-driven, student-centered approach, where we're going to help students get exposure to opportunities that they want to learn about, and where opportunities that we know they probably should learn about just to get exposure to those. And then they're just all different scales, right? Some are doing it school by school, but I think we're probably one of the largest. And I've also had folks ask, is PACE a national program that you're adopting and bringing to Cleveland? And it's not. It's the hard work and drive of all of those 100 individuals, 2 years to really create what we hope will become a national platform for other school districts to adopt.
And as you look ahead, what does success look like to you for the PACE program?
It is students within CMSD and hopefully other schools in the region interested and engaged with employer partners before graduation, and knowing that pathway and having a spot reserved for them upon graduation of high school or graduation from college or university, if that's the path they choose to take. There's no wrong choice, but these students should feel connected and have a network that they are ready to rock and roll no matter what choice they make.
So as you think about the work that you've been doing to help bring this together and watching this unfold, what excites you most about PACE?
The collaboration that partners, employers, intermediaries, the district have all been willing to come to the table, talk, discuss, change the way that they may have been doing some things to make sure that the student is at the forefront. But the employer and this need for a talent pipeline, a diverse talent pipeline, is being thought of. But this, again, isn't coming at it from just the employer saying we need this. It's not the school district just saying this. It's meeting in the middle, figuring out how we work together for everyone to accomplish their goals.
And for those of us who are on the call today, what can we do now that can most support you in the work you're doing with PACE?
Yeah, if you are an individual, not part of a large organization, fill out that volunteer form. Share with us where you have interest. If you're part of an organization, to start creating experiences, we need you as a PACE partner in our information management system. So go to that link, create the organization form, or have someone in your organization do that. That will provide us your contact information so we can push out these volunteer opportunities that we have. It will be the way for us to allow you to create experiences that you have for these students. So we're really trying to streamline, bring all of this data together for the educators in the building, for the district, and for the community. And if you have questions, don't hesitate to reach out. You can contact me. I'm happy to share more in-depth information about PACE. I know we covered it at a bird's eye view today, or email pace@clevelandmetroschools.org, and they will respond and be happy to share more information as well.
Andrea, we are so excited for the work that you are doing and the opportunities that this will provide to our scholars at CMSD, and very happy to share more and keep all of us updated on the needs that you have to make sure that this is a successful endeavor.
I appreciate it, Rachel. It's really awesome to see all of you that have joined today, and I look forward to talking more with all of you.